Big up to everyone in the building for watching this show. Make sure you slap the likes, and you know what? Appreciate everyone that's going to be watching this now, later, whenever. This is going to be slightly controversial, and if you don't like this type of content, then that's your business. But I'm telling you something right now. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good one. Make sure you slap up the likes, make sure you're subscribing, and if you're new to the channel. And there's going to be certain things that I say that people are not going to like. There's going to be certain things that people say that I do like. I'm going to try and be as balanced as much as I can, but I'm not here to make everyone happy. I'm just going to give my opinions based on what I've seen growing up, based on what I'm experiencing right now, based on the atmosphere, and based on opinions from others as well in the game, not just my own opinions. And hopefully I can come out with a summary at the end of the show. I was going to do this with people, but I thought, you know what, let's me come from my angle, and if anyone wants to join the stream, then the link's there. If you want to debate with me, then that's fine, but the link will be in the stream as well. So let me just pin that onto the stream as well, because people might watch this and they might decide that they want to put across their own opinion. Let me just pin this. Let me just put this into subscribers mode. And let's just pin this chat if I can, pin this message. Okay, so we're ready. We're ready. We are ready. We are ready. We are ready. Okay, so the captaincy. First, we're going to talk about what is a captain in sport and across, I suppose, different genres and different stuff. Can you not hear me? Can you not hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can see the audio. When you say the chat isn't chatting, what does that mean? I've only just started the stream. If you can't hear me, let me know. If you can hear me, let me know. Just let me know. Give me a thumbs up. Because if you can't hear me, then that's a disaster. Okay, so the chat, yeah, the show's just started. You have to give people time to join the chat. And even if they don't, yeah, the stream's just started like 3-4 minutes ago. You have to give people time. Saturday, this isn't the best time. I'm not expecting everyone to be joining the stream. Remember, I don't get numbers like other channels. People might see the stream and they might talk, but it is. Anyway, let me talk about my views on a captain, and then we bring up the definitions. Okay, so the definition, my definition of a captain. So, and I'll talk about in terms of captain, yeah. So someone that can steer the ship. So a captain is someone on a ship that can steer the ship, that can, manage, the other staff on the ship, navigates, tasks and stuff like that. Just like a manager in work, just like, slightly different to a leader, because a leader is someone that, maybe you're influenced by, but some leaders are just like, they're just there in it just to do their job as a team. So they could be a motivator. They can just be someone that you have to report to, just like a captain. But in sport, captains are different. There's a different kind of responsibility in terms of being a captain. Captain leads, but also as well, a captain needs to be calm, I think, in certain situations. We're going to get onto all of that as well, on the past captains that we've had. I'm only going to cover a few captains in the Arsenal team, modern and past, yeah. And it's not going to be too many. We can talk about millions of captains, that's captains Arsenal, but I'm only going to cover a few on this stream. So yeah, captains, I think it's quite a simple explanation. You know, being a captain, especially in sport, I think you have to have some leadership qualities. I think you have to have some calmness to you. I think you also have to be able to speak up, and being a leader, you need to speak up in it. You know, if something's not right, or if you don't feel that something's going right, then it's, you know, it's also good for you to speak up. A captain also is the middle person between the team and the manager. So whatever feedback comes from this side or feedback that comes from that side, you're in the middle, and you know what, you choose to, whether you choose to relay it to the manager, whether you choose it to relay it to the team, that's your kind of role. You're kind of like the sponge in the middle. You're the one who takes one for the team. You're the one who also is the one. If you notice, Odegaard does his captain's logs or captain notes every game. He's not played recently, but he seems to be doing his captain notes if you look at Twitter, he's got his captain notes up every week, saying about the team and stuff like that. So big up to him. I'm going to go through the talk boy 10 as well. Yeah, I'll go through the chat as well. But whilst I'm in mid flow, I just want to just keep talking for now. So now we've spoken about what we think a captain is. Yeah. Now I want to delve more into, you know, what the captain for Arsenal should be doing. Now this could be controversial, innit? Because people might see the captain's role at Arsenal different to how I see the captain's role at Arsenal. I've had conversations with you know, content creators that haven't agreed on, you know, the things I've said. I think in this modern day, and you know, even when I was playing, yeah, there were captains that were quite loud, but there are also captains that were quite calm, that led also by their playing. I'll give you a good example of a captain that we had when I used to play semi-pro. It was the manager's son. The manager made his son the captain, not because he was a leader, but because he knew that his son was one of those guys that everyone got on with. You know, everyone would go to the pub with him. He was a nice guy, but he also had something about him as well, that if he had to step in and look after the players, he would do this kind of stuff. You know, he really kind of grew into that role as a captain. That was just one example of captain. I've also had captains that shouted a lot, you know, get over it, get over it, make sure you're marking this person. Always navigating, always. Some people don't like that though. You know, I was a shouty captain. I noticed that my players, they didn't always like that. They always used to say I was moaning, but I wasn't moaning. I was one of these guys that I led from the front, but also if you hadn't done something that I didn't like, or something that's really like you should be doing, I'll be on your back. And this is one of the reasons, you know, why I got success as a player manager, because, you know, the players respected me to a point, because I separated that being your best mate to when I'm on the pitch, I'm a different animal. You know, I was a different animal. Certain players, yeah, need the arm around the shoulder. You know, certain players, you know, they need to kick up the backside. And certain players you don't even have to talk to. How about that? Certain players you don't even have to say anything. They get the assignment from when they cross that line. They know what they had to do. And that's part of what you call the leadership group. Yeah, that's what's part of the leadership group. Big up to Dr. S in the chat as well, man. I would have loved to see you here as well, but I hear what you're doing. You know what I mean? Big up to Abdurrahman, big up to Boy 10 as well, big up to Nems as well. Hey, we're gonna get deep on this. We're gonna get deep on this. So, and I know all of you had experiences. That's why the link was in the chat. But anyone wants to join, you can join this thing. It's an open dialect. I don't want to just be waffling myself, but if I have to, because I'm responsible for the stream, then I will do it. Then I will do it because I can speak for 2 hours. You know me, I'm the waffle don, yeah. So the waffle can waffle on like Ariston. So let's continue. So what I was gonna say, I'm gonna bring up something here, and I want to analyze this from one of the future play. Okay, let's start with this. So our modern captain is Odegaard, yeah, and I suppose we all got opinions on him as well, yeah. But some of us, like myself, and I don't know who the chat. I can't speak for you guys, but I think there was talk about either Declan Rice or Gabriel being captains for Arsenal, yeah, which are valid shouts. But I read something here, and I did stop to think for a moment. Maybe there is a little bit of truth in this. And whether I like this guy or not, and whether you like the guy or not, I think there seems to be a bit of, when we take all our biases aside and we throw them all away, yeah. And you lot are not gonna like this, but I'm gonna share it anyway. But I had to think about this. I had to think about this very carefully, yeah. And I'll share this. So, can you guys see the screen? I hope you guys can see the screen. So, Paul Scholes thinks Arsenal man Declan Rice is too emotional. When Roy Keane was getting the team together, and we're talking about a big Scholes as well, yeah. We're not talking about, I know Scholes is a bit of a knob, yeah, but we're not talking about idiot that played football, by the way. When Roy Keane was getting the team together and leading the team really well, there was a certain calmness about it. When I looked at Declan Rice, he almost looks too emotional. He's lively, he's come on, and then he makes his mistake. When you're going for a league title, when you've got tough games, there has to be a calmness about you. I think potentially he's a captain. It's just when I look at him now, he's so emotional. I don't like it that when Rice was geeing up the crowd just moments before Colomwani goal in the game at the weekend, I don't like people being so emotional like that. People call me a miserable so-and-so and that you don't want to take emotion out of the game. And of course we don't. We want emotion, but it has to be in the right way. Scoring goals and celebrating, that's great. But game management in game situation, there needs to be a calmness. Whether you want to agree with that or not, that is his opinion. That is his opinion. And I agree with some of it to an extent. Declan Rice did go on to have an amazing game against Spurs, and we did smash Spurs. And part of a captaincy, part of being a captain as well, yeah, is making your mistake and then, you know what, making up for it. And Declan Rice is that type of guy for me. He's that type of guy. I thought he made that mistake and he recovered from it. And that's what you need in your captain. You need that, you know, because not everything's going to go your way game to game. Not everything's going to be right as rain. Yeah. There's going to be times, yeah, where you have to G yourself up. There's going to be times where you make a mistake and you have to make up for it. Look at the likes of Gabriel, for example. Made a mistake against Bournemouth. You know, what does he do? He scores straight away. I think he's done the same thing before as well, where he scored straight away as well. Now, when Scholes talks about the emotional thing, I get the emotional thing because now I'm thinking of this guy. I'm thinking of this guy here. Sorry, it's not the greatest photo, yeah. But I'm thinking of this guy right here now. Now, Rice for me would be a great captain, but I do take into context what Scholes says. There's been a couple of times in the season where, you know, Declan Rice has got a bit mad, you know, especially he got mad with was it the coach? He got mad with the coach, I think, coming out the coming out the tunnel. But you know what? These things happen, man. You can't pick out these things and think, oh, you shouldn't be a captain. These things happen. And when you're Arsenal, when you're a big club, you're always going to be scrutinized. So that's something I'm not going to put on him. There was a time when I think he was walking off the pitch and he said something, he swore or something like that. But we call it passion. Passion with a U in there, PASHUN. That was just showing passion. And sometimes I think the game's gone, yeah, when we don't have these type of passion merchants. You know what I mean? Arsenal have been missing someone like that, you know. Now, the argument is, well, we can have emotionless. Because Martin Odegaard strikes me as a very calm guy. Just like me and Cape, yeah? When you watch me and Cape, yeah? Cape seems to be the calm guy, yeah? Well, I'm the passive aggressor. So I'll be cool, but if I see something that I don't like or I'm against or I feel that I need to speak on, then I will do that. Whilst Cape is more of that. He's more calm. He might be smashing windows by the time, I mean, the stream's over and punching walls and, do you know what I mean, going out, beating people up. Who knows? But he shows that calmness. He's like an Odegaard to me. When I'm just talking about in terms of both of us, yeah, in terms of streaming, you know, BBK. And I'll use the 18 guns. I'll use all of them as my little experiment right now. Because a lot of them, we're all different. We're all different. So with the 18 guns, I'm the leader of that WhatsApp group because, you know, I set the tone. You know, I also have to be there also when it kicks off. And I also have to make sure that if I kick off, that I level out after a while, because it's easy to lose your head, because I've lost my head in other groups. I admit it. I've lost my head in other groups. But we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on the captaincies. Odegaard, for me, he seems more of a placid, humble, soft-hearted guy. Yeah. Someone that doesn't really lead from his play, but someone that, you know, you can talk to in the dressing room and whatever you say to him, he's gonna be all right, cool, yeah. He's not gonna shout at you. He seems like one of these guys that he's just easy going. He's easy to get on with, and that's not. There's no problem with that. There is definitely no problem with that. The manager probably sees this as a balance for the team. The manager probably doesn't like the shouters, because sometimes, yeah, when you get shouters in a team, yeah, that can have a negative impact on some players, especially if you've got younger players in your team. Younger players that have stepped up to, you know, the big boy league or the big boy team, and they're seeing man shouting and cussing and screaming. And they're probably looking at, boy, I don't, if I make a mistake, is man going to be shouting at me like that? And this can have negative connotations on certain players at times. This is human behavior, people. This is natural human behavior. If someone shouts at you consistently, yeah, it's either going to do two things. It's going to either spur you or it's going to make you, you know what, go into your shell. I don't want to really talk to that person. I am not playing for him. These are the things that happen. And we can talk about other teams, but I don't care about other teams. I care about Arsenal. Is Odegaard a good captain? I put that question to the chat. Is Odegaard a good captain? Yeah. That's what I want to ask you guys first. Not because there's a possibility of us winning a trophy, but just on the premise, is he a good captain? Because we can talk about he's been voted and all these kind of stuff like that as well, yeah. But it's easy to put pen to paper. It's easy to do it's easy for you to vote and to do what's popular, isn't it, with everyone else? There must be something about Odegaard, yeah, that is well liked within the team. If you was a player at Arsenal, which captain would you want to which captain would you want to rule? Yeah. So let's look at some of the past captains, yeah. Let's look at this guy. So Tony Adams, the most successful Arsenal captain in existence up to this day. Now, looking at Tony Adams, you're probably thinking, this guy looks a bit mad, you know. Look at him, you know, his face, he looks a little bit terrifying. But if you hear Tony Adams speak, he's got one of the softest voices I've come across. And as I said, I went to uni with this guy. And I tell you something which I've always told everyone, that in the seminars, this guy was quiet. He just got on with his work. He didn't pester anyone. This was a bruiser in the Premier League, yeah, in Division 1. This was a guy that didn't mess about. But in uni, you know, even someone threw like a paper ball at his head at one lesson, and I was like, oh no. And he didn't even flinch. He did not flinch. True story, by the way. No one knows about this. Someone threw a paper ball at his head, the back of his head, and he didn't even turn around or anything. And I thought, what an imbecile who's done that. But anyway, besides that, this is the captain I grew up with. Yeah. This is the player from my generation, because I'm probably a lot older than a lot of you guys in the chat. Not proud of it, but I am. This is the type of captain that molded me when I was younger. This is the type of captain that inspired me. I don't even think Tony Adams was a shouter. Maybe in the changing rooms he was a bit of a shouter, but he was one of them guys that, you know, yeah, he led the team. And the thing is, he had to be strong because the players he had around him, yeah, he had big characters in that dressing room. He had very big characters in that dressing room. Sol Campbell's, the Ian Wrights, the Bergkamps, do you know what I mean? The Vieiras, all of these guys, yeah. He had to, like, you know, big characters, you know, players that had come from France, youngsters that he had to, like, you know. And George Graham, let's not joke about George Graham. Yeah, George Graham was a man of principle. You know, George Graham was a very strong, hard-lined, you know, Scotsman. He didn't mess about. Yeah, so he needed his captain. The captain mirrors the manager, so they say. Yeah, and you can tell Tony Adams mirrored George Graham in it. Both, if they had to be fierce, yeah, they would be fierce in it, but showed, you know, kind of soft, you know, soft voices and all of that kind of stuff. But you knew if you riled them up the wrong way, they would go crazy. Yeah, George Graham and Tony Adams, that was my era. So when I feel a little bit concerned about this generation and this captain in Odegaard, now I'm not going to be slating Odegaard today. People think that people might think that this is an Odegaard slagging session, but it's not, because I'm actually looking at it for what it is now. I'm actually seeing some differences, and although the two other captains that probably I would choose, I'm starting to understand why we have, a soft mannered player like Odegaard as captain, because one, he mirrors the manager, and two, there's no number two. That's just me trying to make up another number, but he mirrors the manager. Every player has emotions in it. I don't think Odegaard displays emotions much. He's very cold. But you get this with Europeans quite a lot. Especially the Scandinavians and stuff. Look at Gyökeres. He's very cold and he doesn't show much emotions when he's on the pitch. You rarely see him getting angry, rarely see him getting mad. As I said, I don't care if anyone wants to agree with me or don't agree with me. This is not based on facts. Some of it's based on facts, but some of it's just personal opinion. What about this guy? Patrick Vieira. Everyone remembers Patrick Vieira and his fights with, the likes of Patrick Vieira for me was more a captain that led through his play. I think Patrick Vieira was very emotional. Patrick Vieira for me, he was too aggressive. He was that aggressive, yeah. He used to get he got so many red cards. How many red cards did this guy get for Arsenal? Let me have a look. I just want to have a quick look. But he was a fierce player. He was a very fierce type captain. Let me see. Patrick Vieira, reds for Arsenal. He received 8 red cards in his Premier League career for Arsenal. Now, as much as I loved Patrick Vieira, this guy was too aggressive, man. Too aggressive. If you're going to be a captain, at least stay on the pitch. But I tell you something, he led with his play. What a player. And listen, he's someone that still plays in my team, bro. Whether he's aggressive or not, I loved his play. I loved him as a player. Yeah. And listen, if I'm choosing like an all-star 11, Patrick Vieira gets into my team. I just don't know if I give him the captaincy, because he was a great captain in terms of his leadership role, in terms of his football. And what I liked about him, yeah, is that teams and players were intimidated of him. And that's what I liked. I liked the fear factor that Vieira gave to other teams. Oh, we've got Vieira. Oh my God, we've got Arsenal today. Oh, Vieira, you know what? I'm in for it. Certain man will probably be having nightmares in midfield. Not Roy Keane, but certain other players thinking, oh my God, I've got man like Vieira tomorrow. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to wear extra shin pads. I'm gonna have to, you know what? I'm gonna have to call the doctor on Monday just to like book in an appointment to see if my legs are still functional. This is the captain I grew up. You know what I mean? This was the captain in my adult life. Yeah, the bad boy captain. Yeah, that I loved. Yeah. So as I said, captains have different characteristics. Oh God, I'm doing the bounce where I can't talk. Captains have different characteristics, sorry. And it is the captain who you like, or is the captain on who everyone likes? So me and you can like whoever we want, but it's all about the team collectively. Does that captain fit into the team ethos? Does that captain fit in terms of, you know, everything else? You know, when on the pitch, are they calm? You know, can they, you know, if they shout at one player, can they talk to another player? Can they be that one that pleases everyone? Because the captain isn't going to please everyone at all times. What are the, and hold on, we've not got there. What is a captain like under pressure? I bring this man up again. Okay, so when we talk about pressure, there's two guys I've got to think about. This guy, and I've got to bring in this guy as well. Because sometimes it's not what the captain says, it's what the captain does. What is this captain like under pressure? I've already said to you that this guy here, he's had bozo moments throughout his career. But what he's done after that is nothing less than amazing. I've said this guy was world class from about a year ago. Sorry, about a year and a half ago, or probably longer than that. People are telling me he needs to win something. No. This guy is world class because he's not only just a great defender, he's also a leader of men as well. He's also that guy, yeah. When it's kicking off, he's gonna be the one that pushes the player off you, yeah. He's gonna be the player that goes to the ref, speaks to the ref. Forget about the English thing for right. Forget about the English language for a moment, yeah? Whether his English is great or not, his English is good enough. His body language tells everyone that he's a leader. He permits leadership. He emits it. You feel the energy from him. He can tell he wants to win by the goals he scores. I'm passionate about this guy. Because this guy here right now, if I was to choose a captain right now, if you ask me the question, this will be my captain. Gabriel Magallanes. I choose you to be my captain if I was your manager. What I like about him is he's calm, he's aggressive, but he's a nice guy as well. He's got everything. He's got all the combinations, just like Declan Rice has. The reason why Gabriel gets it is because he's been at the club longer. He's been at the club longer. He's been there in the most drought of not winning anything. This is the guy I want to be lifting trophies at the end of the season if we win trophies. This is my captain, Gabriel. I love Declan Rice as well. But if you would ask me who my captain would be, this will be my captain. Whether you agree or whether you disagree, that's fine. But this is my captain. Let's go through some of the comments, yeah? And then we get back to where we're at. And believe me, people, yeah, this has been a nice stream. Let's just get him off the screen for a second. Okay, my boy 10 said a lot of stuff on here, so let me just go through it because boy 10's Mr. Popular. A captain for me is someone that can lead other men, the guy that can get all the other gents pulling in the same direction. That's the captain. Doesn't have to be a vocal leader. I hear it. The nuisance with the modern game and the captaincy is that the captain has to handle a bunch of off-field duties that weren't there before. I kind of disagree with this. captains have always had off-field duties. I suppose when you talk about media and you talk about other things, when you mean off-field duties, I don't know whether it's the merch when they're doing the merch thing and stuff, but I've always known captains to be involved in off-field duties, you know what I'm saying, when they're going out and all that kind of stuff. You've got the captain there organizing stuff and all that. So I'm not too sure about that, but I hear it with social media. Actually, I agree with you, but with social media now, you've got the likes of, you know, Odegaard, you know, speaking a lot now on, you know, Twitter and social media. They have to have their little speeches on social media, like, you know, after the game, when we lose a game, we're going to be back and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of get that. Big up to Nems. Make sure you go and subscribe to my killie up in here. Big up to Nems LFC. I didn't Odegaard make any captain notes. Interested. I didn't know. Yeah, if you look on Twitter, he makes some captain's notes on Twitter. Just brief little things, man. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Boy 10 and Abs, how we doing? Yeah, big up to the chat. Big up to Abdurrahman in the building. The captaincy is difficult. If you've seen the likes of Adams, Vieira, Thierry Henry, and Fabregas. Yep. Good tidings, brother. Boy, hey, Dr. S says you either lead vocally or lead by example. The best ones do both. Captains matter. They always have, just like leadership in any work or military setting. True. I needed a captain that shouted me if I was off form. Captain looked at me at halftime, said, I'm not even sweating, so he knows I'm not doing the usual. I had to step it up second half. I would have Rice or Magallanes as the captain. They seem the most obvious choices. If it's about calmness, then that should disqualify Magallanes and not Rice. I just think matters to Rice. Big up Godfrey. Was Roy Keane calm when he would set himself sent off because someone made? Hey, this is true, you know. Roy Keane was a bit of a hothead, didn't it? Roy Keane was a bit of a hothead, but also I think Roy Keane had that passive aggressive about him as well, innit? I think at times, yeah, you know, he did have a bit of calmness about him at times. So. Nah, I think yeah, him and Vieira are quite similar in terms of, like, you know, the way they see the game. What I get from Vieira and Roy Keane is once they're on that pitch, once they cross the line, it's all about winning for both of them, competitiveness, winning. And I think the aggressiveness takes so much hold of them that the captaincy kind of role, because when you look at it, yeah, do you think a calm Odegaard's going up against a Roy Keane? Do you think Roy Keane's going to have it with like, he's just going to look at Odegaard like, get out of my face, yeah? But when you've got a Vieira in there, yeah, then Roy Keane, yeah, although them two go at it, yeah, they're both going to be at it, innit, together. You're not going to have an Odegaard shouting and screaming at a Roy Keane. You're not going to have, like, a Saka, for example, and I'll talk about him in a moment as well, going at a Roy Keane or that type of player. So I think back in the day, Wenger just identified Vieira because he knew Roy Keane was aggressive as well, so he put them two together. I don't know about Thierry Henry. You know, Thierry Henry led from his play, innit? Same as Fabregas as well. I think Fabregas was quite calm, and he's quite an intelligent type of captain as well. Had Scholes mentioned when Neville was his captain, then his point would have been better. Neville wasn't the best player in the dressing room, probably not the best leader. Yeah, Neville was a bit of a fool, actually. I think Neville, see, you get them captains as well where you're chosen just because you're the favorite, innit? Because you know what? You're a yes man and you don't argue. See, we didn't mention about the yes man thing. Not all captains are yes men. Yeah, you can look at some captains and you say yes men, like oh, like I know you could say maybe an Odegaard is a yes man. I don't know, but that's the vibes you get. Mostly Sir Alex Ferguson worked too, but he selected Neville as captain because he could hold it and Alphas wouldn't cry about not being made the captain. Yeah, Odegaard is like Neville's captain. He's the guy that gets the armband. And when your other real captain candidates would argue about not being made the captain if they don't get it. Yeah. The middleman, yeah. It was all right with Rooney, Ronaldo, and Tevez when Neville was made captain because it wasn't one of them that was made captain. Perhaps the same thing applies with Rice, Magalhaes, and Odegaard. Maybe you got a point there. But you've got that leadership group now, innit? Now you've got a captain, you've got a leadership group now, innit? You know, you've got a captain today, captain tomorrow. Someone's injured, this person takes the captaincy, that takes the captaincy. Do we have a fourth captain candidate? Saka. I don't really rate caps. Yeah, I don't see him as a captain. If the captain is always yelling at the same man, then that man should probably fix up. Just my thoughts. My captain only went off at me one time. I didn't need another telling off. Dr. S says proper captain Tony. I want a captain to go to war with. Yeah, not a captain to play tiddlywinks in the sandbox like Martin. Dr. S don't play, man. Jakes or Jackez or Jacks. Big up Waffle, big up the chat. Gabriel should wear the armband ahead of Saka, in my opinion. Big up to Jacks. Hey, big up to my killie. Man like Geordie Dread in the building. I know you watch the shows, brother. I know you watch the shows on a silent thing. But big up to you as well, yeah. This is the guy, yeah, that got me into doing the watch-alongs, bro. Yeah. Like do watch-alongs because boy, I weren't really feeling doing watch-alongs. Like literally, I think I've only missed like 2 games, or maybe a game, or yeah, maybe 2 games all season. And you know what I mean, just been hitting up the watch-alongs, bro. But big up to Geordie Dread. Make sure you go and subscribe to Geordie Dread if you haven't already. That's my brother, from another. Big up to Jakes as well. In France, the players vote for the captain. I wonder how we do it. Well, we vote for the captain as well. And how much of a say Mikel has, because it seems he has a lot, certainly more than he should have. So when I was manager in my team, I would vote. We would do a vote. Everyone gets a piece of paper. You put down your name, who you want the captain to be. Because you have different characters in the dressing room. You have strong characters, you have them calm characters, you know what I'm saying? And we all would vote who the captain is. Who was our captain back in the day? I'm trying to think who our captain was. So so my captain back in the day, yeah, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying his name. His name's Alan. And he was a magnificent player, bro. This brother, midfield, yeah. Oh my, listen, he was a midfield enforcer, but also he can play as well. He can absolutely play. A bit of a Fabregas type, innit? But more like, you know, I mean, more aggressive. But also, he wasn't a player that shouted. He was more a calm player. But what he was is a character, innit? He was funny and all of that kind of stuff, yeah? And we loved him, innit? You know what I mean? Because just the way he was, innit? He was like, he was the friend of the friends, innit? But also, you know what I'm saying, yeah? If we spoke to him, he would convey what we had to say. So I want to call him an Odegaard type. Maybe he was a little bit of an Odegaard type, because he didn't like certain things in it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he didn't like too much harshness on him either. If he was to say something, he might take it the wrong way. Or we haven't trained hard enough in training or something like that. You come out with some kind of mad things, yeah. When I've made man run the whole park, yeah, done madness, and he say, "Oh, I don't feel tired," but he was one of the fittest players in the team, innit? But big up Alan anyway. But I want to talk about this guy. Because we've not spoken about this guy. Deckers. Declan for me, man, is the model model centre back. I think when this guy retires, yeah, if he goes into any type of football management, because probably no one's spoken about this, yeah, I think he'd be a great manager. I just think he's got everything. He's got the character. He's got the aggression in him. He knows how to talk to the media. I think he gets on well with all of the players. And he's a model footballer. Just let's put it like that. Declan Rice is the ideal model footballer for me. And he would be my captain. But I just think Gabriel right now, I think he needs to be the captain, because I feel like if you give Rice the captaincy now, it's going to take something away from him. I think there's going to be too much pressure on Rice. And I'm not saying that Rice can't handle it, by the way. But I'd rather win something than maybe toss the armband to Declan Rice. I just don't want that pressure on him. I don't want it to affect his game. He already puts in 110% each game. Him and Gabriel, 110%. Both consistent. Both players are very consistent. You know, I don't know who's more consistent out of the both players. I'll probably just edge Gabriel because of our defense. You know, when Gabriel's not in defense, you see a massive difference in the team. You know, we smashed up Villa without Declan Rice, even in the first half, yeah, where we got run over. And this is where Aston Villa were in their pomp, by the way. This is where Aston Villa were in some serious form. So Declan Rice is definitely up there for the captaincy, in my opinion. And he's someone I definitely would like, you know, as maybe a vice. Listen, when it comes to both players, Gabriel and Rice, either or for me. I agree with Geordie Dredd here, but either or for me. I'm happy for anyone, or any of those two. So this is what I don't want to see though, going forward. I don't know what Saka brings as a captain, in my opinion. And this is not me going at Saka. I don't know what. Is it, you know what? Saka has carried this team for a long time now. He has. But as a captain, no. I don't feel like he's vocal enough. He reminds me a bit of an older guard. Captains based on, I think, longevity in the team. Saka for me, maybe when he gets a little bit older, but I just don't think the role's there for him. Saka, just concentrate on your game. Concentrate on your game. Odegaard, concentrate on your game. And the crazy thing about Odegaard, yeah, is that unfortunately you've been injured too much this season. And now we have to start thinking about, you know, next season, who our captain's going to be. You need to start thinking about who our captain's going to be. Shout out to Wesley M in the building. Because I don't believe that Odegaard should be the captain next season. You know, he's had a bad run of form. Whatever he's going for as well, yeah. Odegaard has he had another baby? I didn't know that. Let's see. That he had another baby. Is it? I think this guy's winding me up, you know. 2024, he had a baby. You talking about? Yeah, this guy's doing the banter thing, man. You joker, bro. I was a bit slow there. Sorry with the dry lips, man. So yeah, does Odegaard come back stronger next season? Because I'm at that where I want to get rid of him. There's no loyalty in football, man. If you can't, you know, I'm all about what have you done lately? What have you done lately? And unfortunately, Odegaard has suffered this season. No, bro, I meant that was an excuse they're giving up for his extended bad form. So yeah, I'm just like, maybe we need to move him on. But what? Okay, so does that have a detrimental effect on the dressing room? I don't think it does. Does it have on the player? Well, if I was the player, I'll be angry. I would be angry. But if you throw your toys out the pram and you say you want to leave the club, yeah, then I just think that's a coward thing because the captaincy's been taken off you. But as I said, and I'll say this again, and people might not like this, but Odegaard, I don't think he's a bad captain. I say this, yeah. If you watch what I've said throughout the whole stream, I don't think Odegaard is a bad captain, by the way. I just don't feel that he's the captain that we need. There's a difference. There's a difference between being a bad captain and what we need. As I said, he's calm. He's probably that guy that, you know, you don't shout at players and stuff like that. And as I said before, when we spoke about captaincy, yeah, a lot of the players probably in the team are very kind of like maybe calm. If I go through the players in the team, Raya, he doesn't strike me as someone that likes players shouting at him. Timber, I think Timber can take someone shouting at him. Saliba, definitely no. Gabriel, yes. Incapia, yes. Rice, yes. Zubi, maybe. Eze, no. Noni, no. Saka, no. Gyökeres, no. Trossard, maybe. Martinelli, no. If I said no to majority, then they need someone that's cool, calm, and collected. But it's all about balance, right? Just as I've spoken today and I've given you context on my opinions today, it's all about balance, isn't it? So I guess the question, and I'll leave it to you guys, is who will be your captain? Who would you want to be your captain? And hopefully you guys can leave that in the comments after this stream. If you've not watched the stream, watch it back. Yeah. Take it in, pause, and understand, yeah, that this isn't a bias thing from myself. This isn't me on a hate thing. Because it's easy for people to comment and say, you're hating on Odegaard. I don't hate on Odegaard. I don't like when Odegaard chickens out of, you know, certain plays. and calls himself a captain, I don't like that. And sometimes, yeah, you have to have some responsibilities as a captain. And one thing as a captain, yeah, through traditions, you need to go through brick walls, bro. Whether you're that type of player or not, I've had discussions with Guna Lee and all that kind of stuff, and he says he's not that type of player and all that kind of stuff, and rare, and he's always seems to be protecting this brother, yeah, like his agent, his lawyer. We can have a discussion about the players, bro. You don't have to be on a defensive thing. You know, he's not your captain. Sorry, he's your captain. He's not my type of captain. It's as simple as that. But what I do appreciate from Odegaard, and I'll say this again, is his levelness of calm. Don't underestimate calmness, yeah? Because when everyone else is losing it and the pressure's on, don't underestimate the calmness. And that's one thing that I do rate about Odegaard in terms of his character. I'm not talking about his play, I'm talking about his character. Two different things. But you have to have more than just having that character. You have to have the ability to be on the pitch, lead from your play, have that character also, yeah? Under pressure, be able to speak up, be able to be someone that is approachable, that players can come to and want to speak to you and ask you questions and give you their concerns. Have the manager be able to talk to the manager and tell them, I don't want to play this type of football today, boss. It's not helping the team. Make decisions on the pitch without using the manager. Make those decisions. Yeah. Cheer up the fans. Listen, I can go on and on and on and on. This is what a captain needs, in my opinion, needs to have all those ingredients and then some. Shout out to Black Crow in the building, man. People, rice every day of the week. He's saying rice every day of the week. Are you talking about rice and eating rice every day of the week? Are you talking about Declan Rice? You know what I mean? I just thought I'd put a bit of spice on that. Do you know what I mean? I need Rice in a pure 6 role to better lead the team, though. No more points, forward runs, and dead passes. Exactly. I hear exactly what you're saying. I didn't think I was going to get through this in an hour, you know. I thought I would have needed a few more heads to help me out. But you know what, people? It's your channel, innit? So you just got to do what you got to do on your channel. And that's how we do, people, you know. I've never relied on anyone, and that's how we do. So let's see who's and I'll conclude. You know, I've already told you who I would want as my captains, either Declan or Gabriel. I think I'm leaning more towards Gabriel. But ultimately, it's never going to be my decision, is it? So it's down to the manager. And ultimately, my opinion doesn't really matter, but I've got a platform to express my opinion, and that's what I've done today. So maybe 10 people watch this, maybe 100, maybe 30. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day. I don't know who's live, man. There's no one I like who's live. I do like Chelsea are playing Wrexham, aren't they? I might have to tune into that actually. I think Wrexham. I've got a feeling Wrexham's got something, man. Is that Reynolds guy? He's got something for them, man. He's definitely got something for them, man. But anyway, people, yeah, make sure you smash the likes and all of that. White rice with mushroom curry every time. Hey, you a veggie? You're vegan, not vegan, vegetarian. White rice with mushroom curry, yeah. I hear it. I've stopped eating rice actually. I'm trying to cut out the rice, man. Too much carbs and that. But anyway, people, yeah, we're going to stop there. Let us know your feelings in the comments, whether it's good or if it's bad. You know what, we all got opinions in it. And look, I've got an Odegaard top here, people. I've got an Odegaard with number 8 on my top. Make Arsenal great again, people. We are out. Peace.